Hi, welcome to another edition of Pauline Interviews. In this part 2, we're talking about energy. And have you ever walked into a room and you felt really happy, you felt good, you don't know why, but it feels really good in that room? Or have you ever gone into a room where you just started feeling depressed and down and just doesn't feel right? Or you meet a group of people and you think, wow, this is great, these people are wonderful. Or it could be the opposite. You could meet a person or a group of people and you just can't wait to leave their presence. Well, it could be because it's the energy in the room or the energy that people give off. So in part 2, we're gonna talk a little bit more about energy. And I'm not the expert, Gabi is, Gabi Schoenig. And did I say your name right this time?
Gabi
I hope so.
Schoenig,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't speak German that well, and Gabi's from Germany. And Gabi works with energy. She does a lot of interesting things. In part 3, we'll talk about some of the clients that come to see her and the work she does with them. But here in part 2, we're going to talk about other things like walking into a room and how you can have your house feel good or bad. And Gabi can actually go into homes and clear the energy for you. So if you're in real estate and I know you want your house staged, you can also have the energy staged. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is right.
Have you ever gone into a room though where you felt really, it really dragged you down? I went into this house one time. I was looking for a home for my mom and dad. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I don't know if it was just it wasn't enough light in that room. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't feel good. But it could be a matter of anything. It could be that there wasn't enough light, or it could have been that some kind of energy form was there that was affecting me.
Yeah, there can be like people who have died,
Mhm.
sometimes they don't move on to the light and they are still around. Sometimes the emotions of people who have lived there before are in there. Sometimes maybe an act of violence happened in a house or a room, and
Mhm.
it's just the energy of that is still around, and people feel that when they walk in, and they may not know what it is, but they just don't want to buy that particular house, or
Mhm.
they don't want to move in there, or
Mhm.
maybe they move into that space not knowing about some darker energies being
Mhm.
there, and they start feeling depressed after a while, and it's not really them, it's something that was energetically living in that space before. So it's a good thing to clear
Clear it.
spaces before you move in.
I don't know if you can answer this, and don't worry if I ever ask you something, because, you know a lot, but there may be something out there. How does energy get stuck? It doesn't move on. How does energy stick? How does it just hang there? It doesn't, you think of energy as maybe moving, being active and move, but yet it can get, and I read about this too, I read it gets stuck in corners, especially of the house. I can't understand that. And can we even understand why energy gets stuck?
I think we are not used to clearing energy. Nobody teaches us to
Yeah.
clear energy on a
Mhm.
regular basis, and it would be as important as, everybody is being taught to wash their hands
Yes.
several times a day.
Yes.
It would be a very good habit of the
Oh,
future
that's
to
right.
clear
That's a
your
good
energy.
That's a good analogy. I never thought of that. We get germs and stuff on our hands and we wash it to get it away. Yeah.
We clean the physical body,
Mhm.
we take showers,
Uh-huh.
but we don't normally take care of the energy in the houses and rooms.
Now, I mentioned people. Well, let's keep with the building. So let's say somebody has a house. Have they called upon you to come in and clear the energy of that house, and how would you do it?
I have done that, and I prefer actually to do it remotely first. That means I don't go into the house, I do it from the distance.
Why is that?
And because I have had conversations with kahunas and kawai, and they have explained to me that spirits in the home, they can leave through a portal, but if you go in there directly, they might actually also go against you, and that's not really what you want.
No, depending on how bad the spirits are,
Yeah.
or how strong.
So what I do is I call on the angelic beings or ascended masters, the
Mhm.
Christ energy, and I ask for a portal to be opened, that those spirits
Will
leave through this portal, that the portal will be closed afterwards.
It helps them.
And
If they're
so I'm not really doing it, but I'm setting the intention and the
Mhm.
invitation.
Sometimes it might not be spirits though, it might just be emotions that are left. And is this true? I've heard about people taking sage and smudging, light the sage and.
You can do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is not enough
Okay.
oftentimes.
Oh. So you do need an energy.
But it's a good thing to do
Yeah.
in addition.
So would people need an assistance of someone like you that's knowledgeable
And you
about
can
energy?
also invite energies to come into that space, then, to fill the space afterwards
Good
with
energy.
joy, with love, with happiness,
Mhm.
with the vibration you want.
Do you teach this?
Yes.
Because that would be wonderful to know, so we could learn from you how to keep our energy fields clear and clean and because I've heard of other things that are really.
I have learned wonderful tools for that.
Oh, great.
Yes.
I've heard scary things about people walking in and I can't see them, but attachments
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and a person's energy field.
Mhm.
Have you worked with that, and what would that
I
be?
do, yeah.
What would some of those things be like?
Sometimes there are entities that attach themselves, and
Be-
people often don't know that they have it.
Can it affect
It's
their
just something
personality?
that
or-
wants to be cleared, and
Uh-huh. Can it affect their emotions, like could it bring them down?
absolutely, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we were talking.
Sometimes people are depressed and it's not even them.
Wow.
They feel, somebody else's
Energy.
emotions.
Will it eventually leave, or do you have to remove it? You have to have it removed, because it just seems like there's so much, and that we have to be aware of to keep ourselves healthy. I mean, there's food, there's clean air, there's water,
Mhm.
and now these attachments. I mean, how do we stay healthy, and keep that stuff away from us? It doesn't have something to do with what you get involved in your life, like if you're doing like the work you do, I'm sure you keep a lot of that stuff out of your aura. But is there anything a person like me can do, an everyday person, to keep that stuff away from us? I don't know if you can answer that.
I think the energy of prayer, whatever
Okay.
that
Yeah,
is.
it doesn't have to be religion, just
It's
asking
not religious, connection to spirit,
to spirit.
being in nature,
Mm-hmm.
staying away from,
Oh.
places and people who have energy
Questionable
that is not
energy.
agreeable with you.
Yeah, that's true.
And, when you are in contact with those energies, to
Mhm.
clear them straight away.
How would I clear them? I would ask for protection or for help from a higher consciousness, or
Yeah, you can call on the higher powers.
Our fire, yeah.
In whatever way
Avatars.
you believe.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you
The
believe.
angels ask
Yeah.
them to come
Mhm.
help you clear that. You can use crystals, you can use salt
Mhm.
water, you can use sage in addition.
Mm-hmm.
Take a bath in Epsom salt, take
Yeah.
showers,
Yeah.
rub the body with salt. That's all in addition.
Any good intentions work too. And I think,
Keeping a high vibration and
Yeah.
a positive.
and if people don't know how to keep a high vibration, I went online, there are 25 ways to do it. So if you're interested, you can find this thing, I tell you, go online, you can find out everything. So yes, it's important, and it behooves us to keep our energy to attract what we want into our life. Maybe that's one of the reasons a lot of people don't get what they want in life. Did we talk about flow in the last time? They don't go with the flow because their energy is not, so it's important to keep your energy,
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah, like entities definitely would be something that gets in the way of the flow, the
Mhm,
way life
mhm.
wants to flow through you in that moment.
Mhm. Now, would somebody like us who are interested in the metaphysics and beyond the physical, spiritual end of it, would we be an attractive source to them? Would they hang on around us because they see our light, well, see your light, they see a bright light and they just kind of, could that be another way to get
Yes,
things hanging on?
that can happen too.
Yeah, they're attracted to the light, yeah,
Yeah,
So-
all beings are attracted to the light.
to the light,
Mhm.
yeah. Wow, there's so much to know. I'm trying to think of anything else we want to talk about energy. I actually see energy sometimes at night. I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
I think the more you're open to it, maybe the more it's open to you, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you and I, we talked about how we're connected to the higher self, and that's energy. And you also mentioned when we were talking before we did the show about being able to talk to people over the phone, which absolutely fascinates me. So if somebody wanted a reading or wanted you to help them, you can do it over the phone, and the reason is?
when somebody calls me on the phone, I can tap into their energy just the same, sometimes even better than as if they were in the room with me. I'm not distracted by anything visual. I am totally able to pick up the energy and work with it.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it was my camera for a minute. No, that's okay. That's what I'm glad you have that. She had her phone ring, and I was asking Gabi, and I was asking you about all these electronics and electromagnetic waves that are around us. Is that another problem for us to be, do we need to clear that energy? With all these electromagnetic, maybe you don't know, I mean, that's something pretty new.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a whole other subject.
A whole other subject, yeah. I'm just finding ways to stay healthy in this electromagnetic world, so. Anything else you want to talk about energy before we come to part 3, where we're gonna actually have some case studies that you've worked on some fascinating studies.
Like in general, like when we have this field around us, we tend to think about it as air, but it's so much more than air. It's consciousness, it's a field of information, and like every little location within this field has a different energy signature, a different meaning, and whenever we go into this field, something changes. Whatever we observe, something changes. Our intention goes in there, we notice something, we notice another thing. That's like how our subconscious mind works. And we can create changes by working with this energy field.
Is that what Deepak Chopra calls
collapse
possibilities?
energy patterns and bring in new energy patterns.
What are energy patterns?
Energy patterns can develop by the way we think.
Habitual stuff.
Yeah, like habitual thoughts, frequently repeated. Let's say they create an energy field. But we can change that.
Okay, can I give you an example?
Yeah.
Like, say a person says, I'm lonely.
Yeah.
They say what they don't want, and they keep it over and over and over again, so they're creating a pattern of loneliness.
So what I would do in this work, I would collapse that whole pattern and then see what, as it's unraveling, like what new pattern wants to come in, because something happens, something is shifting, and then there will be a new suggestion from your higher self going like, what about this thought? Would this feel a little bit better? Or
I remember Abraham Hicks, and what stayed with me is that it was about your emotions, and if you're thinking something and you feel bad, don't think it. If you're thinking something and you feel good, I mean, that's a very quick and easy way to realize.
It's really that simple.
It is that simple. Think about things that make you happy, not that make you feel bad.
And it might be that it's not your thought, it might be your grandmother's thought.
Really?
Or your father's thought, or, the way...
Is that a conditioning thought, you
the
mean?
tribe has been thinking.
Right. Well, is that in your DNA?
It even gets passed down the line of generations.
Wow. Boy, this is a learning place, isn't it? There's so much to learn to keep yourself clean and healthy and happy. Anyway, that's what my show's about. I mean, to raise consciousness, to present ideas, to give you food for thought. And this is one of my favorites, energy. So this is part 2. And in part 3, we're going to actually Gabi's going to recall some of the people that came in and tell us what their problem was and how she worked with them. So thank you for watching Pauline Interviews.